Riders, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be riding a 2023 Triumph Street Triple 765. We're going to be doing the RS. This one over here is going to be the R version. There's going to be three versions. That's going to be the base one. We have the 765 RS, and then you're going to have a Moto 2 edition, which is something more like a race bike. But when you look at the numbers and everything else, I think they're all pretty comparable, and hopefully I'm able to make a case for that here. So all of them, with all the liquids, gas and everything, they are 414 pounds. The R is going to be 3 pounds more, so really no real difference. They're all going to be 17-inch tires, front and rear. The R is going to get Showa fully adjustable front and rear suspension. The RS is going to have Ohlins rear suspension, Showa front, and then the Moto 2 is going to be full Ohlins. The great thing about all of them is going to be the suspension is going to be fully adjustable on all of them. So that's something right there that, you know, unless you're like a hardcore perhaps like a race or anything like that, you might not really notice that much of a difference between either suspension or the other one. So let's wait for my partner here to get going, and we'll go ahead and get going. So this is the smaller brother of the Triumph Speed Triple. That one has a 1160cc engine. So the RS is going to have 17-inch tires front and back. You're going to get a 4.5 suspension in the front. You're going to get 5.2 in the rear. And you're going to get dual disc 4 piston calipers in the front. Those are going to be powered by Brembo. Then you're going to have a single disc, single piston caliper in the back, and that's also going to be powered by Brembo. For 2023, the R, the RS, and the Moto 2, they all share the same platform engine. They all share the same compression. So the RS and the Moto 2 edition, they're going to share the same horsepower. That's going to be 128 horsepower at 12,000 RPM. The R is going to be 118 horsepower, and that's going to be 11,500 RPM. Torque numbers, it's all going to be the same. They're all going to have the same 59. They're all going to have the same 59 foot-pound of torque, and that's going to be at 9,000 RPM. This is a fairly large group that we have here today, so it's always interesting to see how these rides go. So let's see, we're all stopped here, green light, but I'm thinking they want to wait till everybody's here. So today we're in Lakeland, Florida, so the weather here is perfect. So here is, I think that's going to be our blocker, or I'm not sure what we're waiting for, but either way. So going back to the Street Triple, so the Street Triple, so the R is going to have your mirrors that they're going to be up here at the handlebars like your typical motorcycle, and you can see it right there. The RS is going to have the handlebar mirrors, which I have to say they look really good, and they're actually pretty usable, and they don't have a lot of vibrations in them, which is something that is a great thing. And if you know anything about you know, triple engines, those engines are very smooth in terms of power and very little vibrations. So all three models, the R, RS, and the Moto 2, they all have a quick shifter that's going to be up and down. So not something that is available with other brands. As far as direct competition, and I'm going to go based strictly on a triple engine, the only one that I know is going to be perhaps the Yamaha MT-09. That one also shares but they also have a 3-cylinder engine. So there's also other competition as well from either KTM, Aprilia, but they all have different engines. They're either going to be a parallel or it's going to be a you know, like a V-twin engine, so it's not going to be anything like what we have here. So as you can see, this is going to be a naked motorcycle, so as far as wind protection, there is none. You might be able to hear that or pick that up on the microphone, so something to think about if you do not like the wind. So the street triple, you have a seat height depending on which model you buy. So we're riding the RS. This one is going to have a 32.9 inch seat height. If you like the R, which is going to be the base model, that one is going to have a 32.5, and then the Moto 2 is going to have a 33. So as you can see, it's very negligible between all three of them. You could also buy a seat if you want to get a little bit closer to the ground, but as far as seat height, it's not bad. One thing that you'll notice is the tank. My knees are going to be perfectly tucked over here at the side of the tank, so that's going to make it more comfortable, especially if I'm going to be taking the motorcycle like either track days or corner and anything like that. So all these motorcycles, the R, the RS, and the Moto 2, they all come with different riding modes. You're going to get rain, road, and you're also going to get sport. The RS and the Moto 2 have, and as well as the R, have a fourth one that you're able to select from, that you're able basically just to set it up to your individual settings, to whatever you like. Then there's also one more setting on the RS and the Moto 2 that's going to be called track. That one is going to give you a lot more throttle response, and it's going to be a lot more kind of nippier, a lot more sharper under your response. When you put your motorcycle on rain mode, it drops the response of your throttle, and it also drops the horsepower down to 110. So it kind of makes the motorcycle, it's able to tame the motorcycle a little bit more. And if you want to have basically a more selectable riding, then you also have the ability to go ahead and do that with that user mode, that you're able to select whichever way you want to do it. So compared to the R, we're going to get a 5-inch TFT display. The R is going to have a monochrome, so there's going to be differences as far as the display goes. The display that we have here, I'm not really a fan of it. The RPM, if you're able to see, it's going to be like a very little line, like you're not really going to be able to see a whole lot of what's going on, and I'm not really sure I actually enjoy that. I mean, because you don't really have a good like, it's not very bright, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So you have to really kind of look down and see where that line is going to be here on the RPM on the screen, to be able to go ahead and kind of, you know, gauge where you are as far as the RPM goes. But right now we're cruising at 45. We are literally right around 4,000 RPM. So, you know, if you're going to be doing 65, 70, you're going to be hovering probably closer to 6,000 RPM. One thing to note is these motorcycles do not come with cruise control, which I have to say I'm a little disappointed. I guess I'm spoiled. I currently ride a 1250 GS, and I mean, that's literally oh my, you could literally feel that power. And I just downshifted to 5th, and you could literally feel that torque kicking in as we're approaching that 4,000 RPM. 59 is not a lot, but when you put in 414 pounds, you're going to be able to tell the difference. It's not like you're riding a big motorcycle, so you're definitely able to feel that difference. So rear brake is, you know, it's going to be a full ABS motorcycle. The rear, I guess it doesn't feel like it's a very strong brake, maybe because it's still a brand new motorcycle, but it doesn't feel as like, I didn't feel like it grabbed hard enough when I was pressing it right there. So you can see, here's going to be your controls, your horn, your signals, your high beam is going to be over here, cycle your engine, your hazard lights. So as you're able to see, you're able to go down, up and down through the bike information. Over here, you're able to select up and down. Once you're done, you're able to go ahead and you're able to go ahead and press home. I have to say, they've done some really good changes. I rode once upon a time I rode a Daytona 675, which is, you know, if you know Triumph and you know anything about their, you know, street triple lineup, you know that the Daytona was basically the predecessor of what we have here today. The Daytona now is a distant memory for those that know that, you know, that was able to ride them or test ride them or seen them ride. Now it's the all new street triple. What I wanted to say was the throttle response is very sharp. I know when I had a 1050 speed triple, and that throttle response was like very kind of notchy, like, I mean, like between like 2,000 and 3,000 RPM. It kind of you know, shook back and forth, and you don't see that with this one over here. So that's a big improvement from the speed triple. But price point for this lineup, I have to say it's a very aggressive price point, and it's going to be very comparable to what you can get out there, and it makes a really good case for you to give Triumph a chance. So the R starts at 10,000 depending on which paint scheme you choose. The RS starts at 12,500, and then the Moto 2 is going to be right around a little bit over 15,000. Maintenance wise, as far as I can tell, oil changes are scheduled for every 10,000 miles, with a valve adjustment indicated at 12,000 miles. I was reading some of the information regarding the RS, and from what I can tell, they don't really seem to need all that of adjustment, but it's something that you still want to get checked out. The last thing you want to get is a bent valve because you are way too close within the specs. But being a naked motorcycle and being kind of race driven, you can definitely tell the difference. You're going to be sitting a little bit more kind of leaning forward. Let's see. So man, you can really feel that power, and I gotta say that front brakes, woo! If you're not careful, you definitely are gonna eat some pavement, because wow, it really grabs. So I'm actually pretty impressed with that. So again, so pretty aggressive price point. The Yamaha MT-09 starts basically at 10,000, and it goes over 11,000. I think it's 11,500 if you choose the SP version that has the full Ohlins suspension. I guess what I want to say is, if you are not really sure, or if you're not like a racer guy, I honestly feel that the R is going to be just enough. I mean, it has enough ump. What's going on here? Let me see. Oh, I guess we're turning here. It has enough ump for you to be able to do everything you want to do, and then some. Yes, I mean, the upgrades are nice. The suspension is going to be nice. As we all know, Ohlins suspension, they're one of the top in the market. So, but I mean, I guess it's going to come down whether or not you feel like you need to have all that. So let's see, we're going through here. Maybe we'll be able to open the motorcycle up a little bit here, but it has not. You can definitely feel the ABS working really hard right there when I accelerate quickly and try to come to a stop. So that's very impressive from a motorcycle like this. So yeah, so I mean, so going back, so it's going to be very personal as to whether or not you think you're going to want to get spend a little bit more money. I will have to say the difference between the R and the RS is not really a whole lot. So, you know, you're getting the Ohlins rear suspension, you get the, you know, the 10 more horsepower. So I mean, I think, and you know, you also get the track mode, you get the full TFT versus the monochrome display. So I think that right there is not bad. As far as the Moto 2, I mean, I guess it's, you know, give or take. I mean, I'm not really sure if, you know, if the average Joe will really notice a whole lot of difference, or if it will even make, you know, the extra $3,000 that you're gonna spend worth it. So this is a first ride impression. As you see, I'm not really giving a whole lot of information. You basically ride the motorcycle for maybe 15-20 minutes, and then you're back, so you don't really get to provide a whole lot of information, and you don't have the bike to yourself where you are able to like kind of walk around and kind of, you know, put a lot of information and thought and everything into the motorcycle. But that said, in my short ride, you could definitely feel the difference. One thing that I have never been a fan of Triumph ever since they updated them and they started kind of, you know, after I think it was 11 or 12, I might be mistaken, it might be a little bit a year after, was they changed the headlights from the round headlights to this bee-like design, like mosquito, whatever you call it. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not really sure what it is, but I tell you, I'm not a fan of it. I'm a big fan of the round headlights. But as you can see, here's going to be the display here that I was telling you. Perhaps I could probably update the lighting, but I'm not really sure how, because again, we're extremely short ride. But as you can see, here's going to be your tachometer. It goes both ways, left and right. Here's your fuel gauge. Here's going to be your engine temperature, and down here you can see that we're going to be on road mode. Very beautiful. Besides that, it's actually very nice. And I think if you man, this bike whips, holy crap. Honestly, unless you're gonna be like a racer or something, I don't even see why you would want to get a speed triple. I mean, this right here will do basically everything that you want and then some. My only downsides would be there's no cruise control, which to me, that, as I said already, it's it's kind of a not a selling point for me. I enjoy my cruise control and be able to basically just set it and forget it. But beautiful bike. Compared to the Yamaha MT-09, I have to say, this feels more, I guess, refined. It feels more up class. It feels more like a more expensive motorcycle, and you're getting all that for not really a whole lot more. So if you're in the market, you know, give both of them a look. I don't think you could go wrong with the MT-09. You are gonna get more power with your with the street triple, but again, I think unless you're like a full-on hardcore racer, either one will definitely satisfy your needs and will be able to kind of fulfill whatever it is that you're trying to do. I will say, being a naked bike, you don't really get a lot of that, what you call it, like that wind buffeting around 50 to 65, like 50 to 60. Once you start going higher into that, you know, speed range, you could definitely start feeling the wind kind of push back on you, and you kind of start becoming like almost like a parachute. So if you've never ridden a naked motorcycle and you're in the market for one, or you think they look cool, because they do, you definitely want to make sure that you go ahead and give them a look. Another thing that I wanted to mention was all three models, R, RS, and the Moto 2, they're all going to be key ignition. There's no keyless ignition here, so you got to keep that in mind. I mean, I believe the Yamaha is going to be the same thing. They also come with different levels of traction, so that's going to be real handy if you're trying to kind of tailor the motorcycle to your needs. So you have, you're able to tailor the traction to your needs. You also have cornering ABS for all of them, so that's great with their multi-axis system. And in the R and the RS, you will get the RS and the Moto 2, you're gonna get the option of switching off the ABS, and I'm gonna take that's gonna be the rear tire, and that will come real handy, especially if you're if you're doing lap days or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, here it is, guys. One thing that I wanted to mention as well was, for 2023, the tank size went from 4.6 gallon to a 4-gallon tank. Now, I don't know the specifics of the MPG of the RS, but given it that the transmission is going to be more quick shifting, not quick shifting, but the gears are going to be shorter on the R, the RS, and the Moto 2, I believe your economy, depending how you ride it, it might be perhaps either high 30s to mid 40s. So with a 4-gallon tank, I would say it would be safe to assume that you're going to be looking for gas about every 100 to 110 miles. But guys, if you enjoyed this video, I know it's not as detailed as some of the other ones. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be test riding perhaps 1 or 2 more motorcycles today, and all throughout Biketoberfest, to bring you along with the bike week coverage. So give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys on my next video.